So Michael says he doesn't have a tool and has never really thought about it, to be honest. I like to keep communication to a bare minimum and not be worrisome to the patient. So yeah, that makes sense. Obviously, you don't want to be bombarding people with information. And that's really exactly why I recommend such customization. So you send out one email that with all the information they need, obviously not a wall of text, but the bare minimum, but essential information that they need that's directly relevant to them and not any fluff that they don't really need to read. And that actually, surprisingly, despite what you've actually said there, we're pretty much agreed on that, despite the approach I'm taking in this webinar. So customization is not about cramming in every possible thing you could say to the patient. It's more about making sure that what you do say is straight to the point, tells them what they need to know, they understand exactly why they need to turn up, and then they do. Because you find that once people understand why, then they're much more amenable to doing what it is you want them to do. As long as they understand why, and you make that clear, there's nothing stopping them, really. I mean, obviously there are things like financial constraints and all sorts of factors like that are beyond your control. But in terms of communicating that value, it's all about being specific to what they expect to hear and understand. Okay, so Gina has responded saying, I usually send a personal email and a reason for follow-up, such as to be seen in accordance of NICE guidelines. Yeah, so it's pretty much a more concrete example of what I've just said, and that is, if you tell a person why they need to be doing something, and they understand that why, and it makes logical sense, such as in Gina's example here, then they're going to do it. I mean, if they understand that it's in their best interest to turn up, and you're following the best guidelines out there, the evidence-based medicine with the NICE guidelines and pathways, then if they're going to turn up, and they had any doubt in their mind, then that should be the thing that pushes them towards actually turning up. And so, yeah, I mean, it's the conditional aspect of what we're doing is really quite interesting, actually. I'd love to be able to show you all separately, actually, one-on-one. Would be pretty handy. So there are lots of different ways you can use it. I've already really described them, haven't I? I'm sure you can imagine all sorts of different things you can describe. I mean, for example, let's take a few examples. So if the patient, say, needs disabled access, you might want to include a few sentences about how they'd actually get into your clinic if they're disabled. It might be you've got a step. It might be that they need, they need to go around the back, or that you might want to just reassure them that you do have a normal way of them getting into the practice. And it's not that they do have to indeed go around the back or have some secret entrance. And in fact, you do cater for everyone straight from the front. So all sorts of stuff like that, even one or two sentences just for that person, it can be as easy as that. Appointment types, for example, if it's a flu jab, it might be a bit of advice to do with that. It might be that you send out a link to NHS resources to do with the flu jab if the person's over a certain age or whatever. If it's for particular services, it could be that you give them the exact reason for their follow-up based on what kind of follow-up it is. So in the case of the NICE guidelines, if it's a certain diagnosis, you might actually say it's because of the NICE guidelines, which you can read here, and so on. So there's lots and lots of stuff you can do, and like I said, it doesn't have to be a wall of text. It can just be one sentence and a link, and it applies directly to that person. And they're much happier to click those links and read what you're saying if it's nice and short but very direct in what they need.